Are you a great planner? You get really excited at the start of something and you just want to go straight in with everything that needs to be done. Or are you a great finisher? You just like get really energized when you've got to tie up all those loose ends. There's something in the middle. That bit in the middle that nobody ever really talks about. Doesn't seem to be the most exciting thing, but we're going to discuss this today. Welcome to day 88 of my 90-day mental, emotional, spiritual well-being series. We're talking about the messy middle. We're talking about that part of your goal, a project, the thing, where it feels like there's no progress being made, where it feels like you've been doing this for a while, where it feels like there's still a long way to go before the end result. And this is often when demotivation can kick in. This is when that inner critic can kick in. This is especially when those shiny objects can appear, those things that attract you to do something else instead. And I have to say, I'm actually really passionate about this piece of any process, the middle. Okay, it's so overlooked. And if you think about middle management jobs, okay, so they're not senior leadership and they're not entry level. So they've done enough work to get to middle manager, and they seem to be getting flack from all sides, right? You know, being given directives from senior leadership, being complained about or talked about behind your back, and all of these kind of things from the entry level. They don't want to be bossed about by the middle manager. It's a tricky role if that is where you are in your career. I've been there. Also, if you think about health or your age, all right? So when a lot of times when people hit 40 or they hit 50, it's like this big kind of epiphany, the midlife crisis. It's like, oh, what am I doing with my life? You know, and this kind of realization that there's a finite number of years left, whatever that is, and getting that bucket list going, you know, just kind of a lot of people reevaluate what they've been doing for the last 10, 20, 30 years and think, okay, I want to do something else. And it's very unfairly called a midlife crisis, but, you know, that's kind of that turning point. You think, oh, okay, what can I do? Back to health. You know, sometimes people gain a lot of weight around their middle, right? Fat tends to accumulate around the tummy area, or around the hips and the thighs, that middle part of our body. If you think you might be a middle child, I'm actually a middle child as well. So you have the older ones who kind of, you know, tend to get their way or have the loudest voices, or the younger ones who tend to get away with things. And you're sort of the one in the middle. So that bit in the middle, the messy middle, that piece is actually so prevalent in our lives, in all different areas of our life. And I'm recording this on day 88. I'm not doing it on day 45. It's not the middle of my 90-day challenge. But I felt it was really important to let you know, because hopefully you have subscribed and you're watching the other 87 videos and the other 500 videos that I've got online somewhere. This is, you know, we are through a journey. We are going on a journey. And it's that middle bit where you really, it's so important to have the energy to keep going, the energy to actually reflect on how far you've come, just the consistency. I mean, this is where real discipline kicks in. You know, sometimes you can be really excited about an exercise regime, and you get the gear. I mean, the exciting bit is always the beginning, right? Exciting bit of a relationship when you're dating and it's all butterflies and excitement. The start of a exercise regime where say you've got your gear, you're turning up, you know, to your first class, you're then motivated to go to the second class, and then something happens somewhere along the line, okay, and things come in our world, and we have an excuse. Oh, we can't do it today because of this, and we can't do it tomorrow because of that. And then it kind of gets forgotten because there's other things that come in the way, and then we wind up starting again. And always starting, you have to remember that we're not always starting. Don't always start as a beginner. Often you can look at things and it's like the beginner's guide too, and we start from there. And you don't need to, because there's so much that you've already done. You're not at the beginner stage. You've done a lot of that groundwork. And sometimes you can start a course and you can kind of, maybe get a little bit bored with it, because you think, I know this bit, I've done this, what is next? And it's just having the patience to continue, to acknowledge what you've done and actually show what you've done. It's really important, because unless we are demonstrating what we know or what we've learned or celebrating that, it gets forgotten. And we think that we can only celebrate when we've completed the thing, and we get the certificate at the end, or the acknowledgement, or there's an anniversary, or there's something which is like, okay, this shows you've completed the entire course or training or whatever the thing is. And that's when we get celebrated. Okay, so that's when we graduate. And the end is celebrated because it shows that you've started somewhere and you've got to that position. But the work has been done in the middle, that messy bit that nobody talks about. If you're in a relationship, and as I say, in the beginning it's all exciting and fun and novel, and you want to show up and look good and impress the other person, and you get the butterflies and you want to go on those trips. There's a lot of firsts that happen. But over a period of time, this is how the 7-year itch came to be. It's like, okay, you kind of got over the initial hurdles, and now it's all a little bit, no more surprises. It's all a little bit the same. And this is a time when often people can start thinking about their relationships and kind of think, do I really want to be with this person? Am I growing? Do we still have things in common? Am I excited about being here? And this is when a lot of people can start really thinking, okay, maybe this isn't for me, and start making plans to exit. And then it's the end of that relationship. But that bit in the middle, that going through that, is quite a messy process. It takes a lot of brain power and energy, and it can feel like it's very samey. So have a think, what have you started and you've really built up, and you're now in the middle of it. I mean, everything is kind of continual, right? Nothing is really a beginning, a middle, and end. But if we think of a project, think of something along those lines, you can probably be in the middle of something. And if you're feeling a bit demotivated, a bit deflated, if the inner critic is saying, this isn't working, let's do something else, just reevaluate, just stick with it. Is this something that you have the goal in mind? You've got your big reason why you started it. Okay, it's just about continuing. And this is where sometimes we look for inspiration. Sometimes we have to let a few other things go. This is not the time to start other projects side by side, because then you'll get to the middle of that project as well before you find something else, and you'll build up this stack of half-started projects or courses or trainings. So the real value is in just really thanking yourself for being there, thanking yourself for being in the middle, thanking yourself for having the experiences of the past, and to have the courage to have taken action, to have taken that really uncomfortable action to get where you are, and to build on that resources, keep on building your self-belief to continue. And you can decide what the end is. Why not? You can decide what that final piece is, if that is a final piece. So really think about where you are. Really appreciate that middle part, that messy middle part, the bit where all the work is actually happening. This is where all the work is actually happening. This is such a critical and crucial part. So celebrate that. And if you are middle-aged, middle of your life, having a midlife crisis, in a middle management position, in the middle of something, congratulations. High five. You know, this is awesome. This is brilliant. Let's keep on doing it. Keep on going. You've got this. I'll talk to you in the next video.